Hey everyone, and welcome to DV Auto Detailing's page in the Wax Podcast. This is Dana, and today we're taking a look at a 2014 Dodge Durango that I did not too long ago. I'm wicked behind on my videos, so I'm going to try to get some of these banged out here. So this is a wicked hammered Dodge Durango. Thank God it's got a black leather interior, but this vehicle frequently has young kids and dogs in there. And I see this vehicle maybe twice a year, give or take, usually at least once. One of my frequent customers, this is his wife's car, and he has a black F-250 that I see a lot. So there's sunscreen on the door panels and stuff. It's kind of a mess. So like every single detail that I do, I start off with the mats and getting any items out, trash, any of that kind of stuff. So come along for the ride, all right? And see how things go. So one of the first things I always do, and I kind of gauge depending on what I'm going to do first, is to get rid of a lot of the schmutz that is inside the vehicle here. That's the dust, dirt, the hair, all that stuff, right? And so I either go between using the tornado gun or my vacuum to either suck out the stuff or blow the stuff out, right? So I decided on this particular one to start off just blowing, mostly because of the dog hair. I think it's just way easier to blow out the majority of the dog hair first and then go into vac on any of the stubborn stuff that's stuck within the fibers of the fabric, right? And like I said, thank God this thing has leather seats, because it would have taken way longer to do. And thank God for the tornado gun for ever having been invented. It is, without question, my favorite detailing tool of all time. I've been using this thing since the Tornado first came out years ago, when I started using it over at the shop I used to work at called Side Alley Restorations. And I love this thing. It's got this cone and it's got a little teeny little tube in the middle that oscillates. So basically it's an oscillating air gun. And the way I like to describe it is it basically, when you use it on fabric, it exfoliates the fabric, right? So it really does a really good job of extracting all that caca out of all the fibers, right? And it's not 100% perfect, right? But it does a great job. So there's two versions that I have. This is the regular classic Tornado gun, and then I have another one called the Tornado Black. Here I am doing the mats. And same thing, try to get at least 90% of the majority of the hair and any of the other dust and dirt and crap out of there as you can with the tornado gun before using either the vac or coming back with anything that's going to clean it up, like an all-purpose cleaner or anything like that. So, when I start doing this stuff, you might ask yourself, do I start in the back or start in the front, whatever. Honestly, there's really no rhyme or reason for how I do this stuff. But what I really try to do is, whether if I start in the front or the back, I try to, no matter what, you want to take the air gun and you want to blow the stuff out. So, have your gun at angles where you're almost kind of like when you're blowing leaves in your yard, right? You want to blow it all one way and just move everything one way, right? So whether that means starting in the middle and moving out left or right, So next up, after I do as much blowing as I can, I'll come back with the For Real, which is a nifty little attachment for your vacuum. There's actually two pieces. There's one piece that has an oval, and then there's like an adapter that just goes onto the end of your vacuum. And I have a rigid, I think it's a 5 horsepower vac. It's great. In fact, I really got to clean it out real bad because that thing is wicked filled with dog hair, pretty bad. So what this thing does is it uses some friction to pull out. It has these little teeny little nibs on it, right, all the way around. And unfortunately, they wear down over time. So when I first figured out about this thing, and I realized that you can buy these things in packs of 5 or something like that. I'm like, oh, why do I need 5? I only need 1. Well, it's because as you move this thing, you're using friction. And it starts to wear down on those little teeny little nubs, which help to pull out all the hairs from the fibers, right? So I'm getting pretty close to the point where this is my first one. I've been using it for about a year, and I'm gonna need another one probably soon. But they're not terribly expensive. And I think Detailed Image has like a 2-for-1 kind of a deal going on now and then. So you can always try that. Looking at the video here, I am using my GoPro on a tripod. Sometimes I use that or my Canon M50, depending on what I'm doing, So here we go. The bread and butter in terms of cleaning the vehicle. Hands down, my favorite chemical of all time for cleaning interiors is Superior Products Pink Perfection. Sometimes I'll usually go between 10 to 1, or I'm going to go 4 to 1, a little bit heavier. Again, that is just depending on the vehicle, right? If I get a smoker's vehicle, with like light leather or something like that, where you need a little bit of extra oomph as you're cleaning, I'll go ahead and I'll use the 4 to 1, which is more than enough. But 10 to 1 is 99% of the jobs is more than enough for that light cleaning that you need to do all your interiors. So usually what I do is I usually only just a couple different things. I use my chemical, so my Pink Perfection, and then I use 2 different things for agitation. I use a Auto Fiber Scrub Ninja. It's a little pad, and I use a cheap, soft, bristled detailing brush. It's there's different companies like Detail Factory and Work Stuff that make these things that, and they're like, what, 15, 20 bucks a piece? I don't know, something like that, right? They're expensive, usually starting around 12 bucks. I got these for like $3 a piece off of eBay. They're just like, regular, they probably came out of China, right? There's no brand name or anything like that. They're just regular, plain Jane, nothing special, soft detail brushes, which are probably the exact same thing as the Work Stuff brushes, not Work Stuff, but like a Detail Factory, right? They're probably just ones that they got from China, for all I know. I have no idea, but that's just probably my assumption. So again, just do your due diligence when you're doing this stuff. Make sure that you're lifting up those seats, you're pulling them up and down, because you don't want to leave patches of dog hair and stuff all the way around. So what I try to do is, again, like I said, just do one whole area, and you're kind of letting that product kind of sit for a little bit. And there are some cleaners that you can use that sometimes leave a film, leave some residue, whatever. What's great about Pink Perfection is that this stuff leaves nothing behind. So even if you have a little bit and it's wet and you let it dry, it's not going to leave any kind of a haze or anything like that. It is great. Very, very light chemical-y smell. It's not terrible. It's not super caustic, so I'm not coughing all the time when I'm using this stuff. What I really like about it too is it is a soap-based cleaner, right? So it does have some foaming, or kind of bubbling effect as you're working on it. So when you saw my face real quick, I think I was just checking to make sure that the thing was recording. So when I did this, this was like at the end of last season. This was probably like November, December of 2020, give or take. And usually at that time I would be closed, because I closed at the like on Halloween, the end of October. But I had so much demand. I said, all right, I'm just gonna keep going all throughout, and I just decided I'm just gonna keep detailing cars all throughout the winter, but have it very limited. Again, not a ton of business, but just some stuff here and there. And then also the last thing that I use when I'm doing interiors is, so again, I use my chemical to break down the stuff, the brush, and the Auto Fiber Scrub Ninja to do my agitation. And then you wipe it down with these cheap microfiber towels that you just get down at Walmart. Or I think these ones are actually ones I got down at Home Depot. These are probably like a 16 by 24, give or take. When I'm doing interiors, again, they're gonna go all grungy and gross. I don't spend a whole lot of money on those because they're just gonna get gross, and there's no reason to spend big money on interior towels. So I just go down Walmart and Home Depot, and I get some cheap towels, and they work mint, right? And then lastly, I like to take my Tornado gun, and you just blow out anything, any chemical that may have just gone into the cracks and crevices. That you don't really want it to just stay there. You just want to blow out as much stuff as you can, because remember, there's electrical behind all that stuff. So just try to get out as much moisture as you can, right? So for those who are wondering, when I do this stuff, when I go to edit this in Adobe Premiere, how fast is this going? So the normal speed is 100. I bumped this up 7 times, so it's 700 that I do this stuff at. I figured that seemed to be a pretty good speed, right? Because if this was real time, you'd be here for a couple hours. You have to get a snack, right? So in any case, here I am doing the steering wheel, really using that Scrub Ninja. Got to do it a couple different times, right? Because there's a lot of oils, there's sunscreen, all that kind of stuff. You just want to blow out, like I said, a whole bunch of that moisture out as best as I can, right? And just trying to make it, like I said, just as best as I can. I'm going to tell you real quick, one of my big gripes in detailing are electric seats. They drive me bananas. They drive up the price of a vehicle just because it's there. Like every vehicle almost has them now. I have a modern Subaru Impreza, which does not. My wife's Crosstrek doesn't either, and that's what keeps the cost down on that car. Usually when you have a vehicle, do you really need all that stuff? Probably not. And for me as a detailer, it takes like a whole 60 seconds for me to get these seats back and forth. And when you're detailing, you got to move the seats back and forth a couple different times, right? So it's just one of my stupid little gripes, But there you go. So here I am coming down to the home stretch of cleaning up the interior here with my Superior Products Pink Perfection, right? And then we're going to move on to protection on this vehicle. So what I'm also using here is Superior Products Wash and Wax and waterless wash and wax. So I offer different kinds of UV protections on the inside depending on the customer's preference. Okay, so and you can do different things that you want. So what this is when you get their waterless wash, it's a concentrate. It's pretty thick stuff. Okay, so I dilute this 1-to-1 to create this waterless wash, which also has UV inhibitors in it. Okay, and it's great as an interior detailer. So you're basically getting a really inexpensive, dilutable, multi-purpose detail spray, right? That has built-in wax with UV inhibitors, right? And it's great for finishing off interiors if you want a real basic matte, like no real finish at all kind of a thing. And again, it doesn't damage anything. It's great. It doesn't really leave like a super slick finish on your interior either. So it's really, really good for your plastics if you have customers who don't want like a particularly shiny finish. Now, I'll use Superior Products Aqua Gloss, like 1-to-1, when I want a little more shine. And when I started doing this vehicle, I was putting more shine on there. And a little tip for you guys is when you're doing a vehicle that's older and really hammered, has a lot of scratches in the plastics, imperfections from kids and pets and stuff like that. When you use more of a glossy product, it really helps to hide all that stuff. And granted, as impressed as my customer is, he says, on my vehicles, I think we really want more of a matte finish. Okay, all right, that's fine. And another little tip here on the vents with this kind of stuff is when you just have a spray bottle and not an aerosol, when you're trying to do the vents, spray, not a ton, but spray somewhat liberally into those vents. And then you use your tornado gun and you just blow and it evens everything out. So you don't have to really get in there nitty gritty to in the vents with like a microfiber towel to coat the whole thing. Just spray it pretty good and then blow it out and it comes out nice and even. So it's one of my little tips right there. So again, what I like to do is just spray it down and then wipe it down with that microfiber towel just to even everything out. So that's usually what I do. Now, obviously, some of it gets onto the glass. Not a big deal because I'm going to be hitting this with a glass cleaner soon. Okay, and that's it. I mean, again, pretty simple stuff. It's just one of those vehicles that it just gets hammered. I only see it once or twice a year. So, like I said, it's got kids and dogs. So every time I see it, it looks like I hadn't touched it, right? And but it's kind of why I try to incentivize maintenance stuff here and there. Is to try to say, hey, if you bring the vehicle back to me sooner, I'll give you a lower rate. A lot of times it doesn't happen. And the truth be told, a lot of people aren't really taking advantage of my maintenance stuff. So I don't know. I may get rid of maintenance. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out loud right now. I don't even know if it's worth it for me anymore. Because a lot of times when I do get these vehicles, it's like literally on the cusp of the 90-day mark, and it still looks like when I get it back, it's hammered again. So it's like, is it worth it to me? I don't know. So, but in any case, just going around and protecting all that interior. So you can use it on the plastics, your dash, on your leather seats. It's not going to harm anything. It's totally fine. Again, it's just being used here as a short-term UV inhibitor, and just to add a nice, small little sheen onto every surface of the inside. So your customer is really happy and everything looks good. So again, I'm just using Pink Perfection, just the same 10-to-1 dilution on these floor mats. They're not terribly dirty, nothing too crazy about them. And all I'm just doing is using my tire and wheel scrub brushes real quick. I didn't have my drill brush ready to go today, so I'm just agitating them manually. And I'm just going to hit them real quick. I didn't want to pull out the pressure washer today, so I'm just using the garden hose. Worked just fine. Hey, Flexilla, by the way. Got a new Flexilla hose. Thing works mint. I love that hose. It's great. Then when I'm all done, I take the tornado gun and I blow as much of the water as I can, right? So now I'm using Superior Products Clearview Glass Cleaner. This is when you get it. It's concentrated. You got to have to dilute it 5-to-1. It's blue. Has a very typical glass cleaner smell to it, nothing crazy, but it cleans extremely well. I'm very, very happy with this stuff. Doesn't leave a lot of streaks as long as you know how you're gonna clean. And what I'm using here are these. These are when it comes to glass towels, I think it's really important to get good glass towels. So these are from the Rag Company. These are these black diamond weave. They have more of a like an aggressive feel to them, so they're really good at cutting down on what's on there. And then too, depending on what I'm doing, I might use a magic eraser if I have to really cut down on film and grime that's on those windows. Yeah, so I just think it's important to use two. So use one for agitation. You put it into eighths, right? And use one just to clean and one just to take out any streaks at the very end. Pretty simple stuff. Now, I'm using, this is a detail spray that also has wax in it from Superior Products called Easy Shine. Smells like grapes. Wicked nice stuff to use. Leaves like no streaks. Use this on your paint. You can even put the stuff on glass if you wanted to, but I just use it right now just to clean up the door jams. Get rid of any cucker that's still on there, and just clean them up, make it nice and shiny. Because that's definitely a part of the interior detail that I have to do just to make it as you walk, you get into the vehicle, you want it to be all nice and super clean. So just some quick after shots right here. Everything's good. All of the sunscreen is gone. All the cucka, all the dog hair, everything is gone. Again, too, this is an older, as a 2014, right? So it's a little bit older and it's hammered. Like I said, dogs and kids. So it gets used and abused. So, between a 1 to a 10, 10 is brand new. 1 is like ready to bring over to the junkyard. You got to communicate with your customers that one of the best things you could do is bring it to at least like an 8 or a 9, okay? Like in the back there, there's still a little tiny bit of dog hair, but you got to tell them there's only so much that you can do. But this is a huge, huge change from what was there. So I'm just really proud, and my customer's really happy with the way this came out. So there you go. Thanks for sticking with me and joining me in the ride, and thanks.